Episode 3 opens with Seiya making a wish for Jongwoo to fully recover. Moments later, Jongwoo suddenly opens his eyes, and at the same time, the countdown on Seiya's phone begins. Ha-joon tells Seiya he might have a solution, saying there's someone she needs to meet. His older sister. Confused, Seiya says he said she was studying abroad, and Ha-joon admits that wasn't true. He says he was embarrassed to tell the truth. His sister left everything behind years ago, changed her name, and became a shaman, something he didn't want anyone else to know. They finally arrive at an isolated house, and Ha-joon explains a strange man guards it, refusing entry without an invitation. Even to him, Seiya questions why he'd need permission to see his own sister, and Ha-joon agrees it's absurd, adding the man once warned that if she stepped outside, her life would be at risk. Just then, Bang-wol opens the door and unexpectedly calls him brother-in-law. Then, as if nothing is unusual, he steps aside and welcomes them in. As they walk toward Hasal, Seiya receives a call from Jongwoo, who asks why she hasn't come to see him yet. She explains that she's a bit far away, but he insists on coming to her, asking where she is right now. Suddenly, a candle goes out, and Jongwoo becomes desperate, repeatedly asking for her location. But before Seiya can respond, Hazel sharply warns her not to answer. Seiya suddenly freezes, her body going still as if something is wrong, and Jongwoo grows increasingly agitated. Hasal tells her to hang up, but Seiya can't move at all. And realizing the danger, Hasal orders Bang-wol to bring a rope. The voice on the phone turns threatening, warning that if Seiya keeps ignoring it, it will harm her boyfriend. Bang-wol returns with the rope and tells Ha-joon that it's too dangerous and urges him to trust his sister. Hasal ties the rope around Seiya's wrist, trying to restrain her, and the voice continues to mock them, threatening everyone in the room. Seiya's head then slowly turns in a way that clearly isn't normal. Determined, Hasal tightens her grip, finally managing to pull the phone away, and immediately tells Bang-wol to take her to the altar. Ha-joon asks what just happened, and she explains that Seiya has been overtaken by a spirit, and she have to bring her back before it's too late. She tells him not to leave the room until Bang-wol gives him a signal, and no matter what happens outside, he must stay inside. Hasal and Bang-wol begin preparing for a ritual. As Seiya slowly opens her eyes, Bang-wol tells Hasal to focus on what's inside, and he'll handle anything that happens outside. Hasal gently places her hand over Seiya's eyes, and the white snake settles on the altar. After a while, Seiya suddenly jolts awake, but Hasal is no longer there. As Seiya looks around, disoriented, Hazel appears and tells Seiya she's there to guide her. She just needs to follow her voice. Seiya asks where they are and what she's supposed to do, to which Hazel explains that this is the realm where the curse began. She tells Seiya if she can find the first door and pass through 3 rooms, they can escape together. Back in the real world, Hazel signals Bang-wol that they're ready. He lights incense, and suddenly a powerful wind begins to sweep through the place. Drawing his dagger, he calls upon protective forces, invoking them to guard the ritual. Then, just as suddenly, everything goes still. Seiya now finds herself in a dark forest, searching for the door, and after wandering for a while, she finally spots it. Hasal appears again, telling her there's one rule she must never break: don't look back. Once she passes through a door, she must keep moving forward, no matter what, because the spirit that harmed her friend and pulled her into this realm can see her too, and if it notices her, every door Hasal has created to protect her will disappear. Seiya is unsure if she can do this alone, but Hazel reassures her, telling her that the thread tied around their wrists connects them. She warns her that the door that leads her out will appear only beyond her deepest fears, but promises she's right there with her. Back in the real world, Bang-wol warns that the incense is burning faster than expected, so the doors won't stay open for long. Hazel puts on a ritual mask, and in the other realm, she suddenly vanishes from Seiya's sight. Shaken, Seiya steps through the door and suddenly finds herself back at school. From behind, young Wook calls her name, and terrified, she runs forward, but out of nowhere, he bursts out of a classroom, and the horrifying moment begins to replay. She sees flashes of what happened before when he lost control in school, but this time, it's different. Instead of collapsing, he slowly turns toward her, and then he charges. Panicked, Seiya runs for her life, while his voice echoes behind her, calling her name again. Then suddenly, he's right in front of her and tells her it's all her fault. He admits he was wrong and begs for help. For a moment, it feels real, until something takes over him again. His voice distorts as he cries out that it's happening again. Desperate, Saya looks around and opens a window, only to see herself on the other side. And when she looks up, everything seems to loop endlessly, so she quickly shuts it. And when she turns, young Wook is standing right beside her. The moment repeats again, but this time, something about it feels twisted, almost mocking. Then suddenly, everything reverses. Saya recalls the night he told her about that strange call, the voice that sounded like her, but wasn't. That's when it clicks. She realizes this isn't really him. Gathering her courage, she says it out loud, that whatever this is, it's not her friend, and it isn't as powerful as it wants her to believe. With that, she breaks free and runs. The entity appears in front of her again, but this time, she doesn't stop. She runs straight through it, and just like that, it loses its hold. A door handle suddenly appears. Saya grabs it and opens the door, only to find complete darkness on the other side. And without hesitation, she jumps in. Back in the real world, Hassal suddenly wakes up and tells Bangwol to prepare the second door. He lights another incense stick, and Saya's body begins to shake violently, but Hazel steadies her, calming her down. In the other realm, Saya now finds herself at the scene of her parents' accident. As she slowly approaches the car, a memory surfaces. Her younger self asking her father what gift she'll get if she wins her first school competition. Her father jokingly asks who told her she'd get anything. Then, in this distorted space, he looks at her and softly says he loves her. Just before she and her mother falls out of the car, Saya breaks down, realizing the painful truth. Her father was distracted in that moment because of her. Hassal urges her to keep moving, and just then, another door appears. Saya starts toward it, but suddenly, her mother reaches out and grabs her leg, asking if it's really her. Hassal warns her there's no time left, and Bangwol notices the incense burning down rapidly. He warns that if this continues, the door will close, and if Hassal doesn't come out soon, he is coming in and pulling her out. Hassal refuses, saying no one should be left alone in a place like this, and if she has to, she'll remove her mask. Bangwol warns her that if she does, she and Saya could be trapped. In the other realm, Saya's mother regrets leaving her too soon and not getting to watch her grow up. She apologizes and, having waited a long time, asks Saya to stay a little longer so she can see who she has become. Back in the real world, Bangwol tells Hassal that the plan isn't working and they may need another approach. And meanwhile, Ha-joon downloads the Girigo app. Saya makes a choice. She tells her mother she can't stay and runs toward the door. Her mother calls out to her, asking her to turn back, saying, "I will be left in pain forever if you doesn't." But Saya doesn't stop. She keeps running and reaches the door, and just as everything peaks, she suddenly jolts awake. Bangwol and Ha-joon quickly steady her, helping her sit up. Ha-joon apologizes for bringing her there, and when Saya asks about Hassal, Bangwol says she's resting. But then, Saya hears Hassal's voice. Bangwol asks if she's hearing someone else. Hassal's voice warns her not to respond, only to listen. She explains that what Saya is seeing isn't real, and this is a third space. Bangwol, however, says something may have followed her back from the other side. Hassal tells Saya to ask them to call her, as they won't be able to, because she's still wearing the ritual mask. Saya asks them to call Hassal, and Ha-joon moves to go get her, but Bangwol stops him, questioning if she is being tricked by something pretending to be Hazel. He reminds Saya of the rule, never look behind, no matter what, because if she does, whatever is there will see her too. Then, he tells her to look behind her so he can see it as well. But Hassal's voice immediately warns her that it's a trap. She urges Saya to find the door and get out. Saya looks around, confused, and Bangwol insists those doors aren't the way out. Hassal calmly tells her to breathe and focus to find the real exit. Overwhelmed, Saya admits she doesn't know what to believe anymore. That's when Ha-joon suddenly starts rubbing his eye, then freezes, staring at something behind her. Terrified, he asks if this is what they've been seeing all along. Saya asks what's going on, and Ha-joon confesses that, in panic, he made a wish too. Bang-woo tells her the only way to save him is to turn around. And just then, Ha-joon's hand begins moving on its own towards him. He cries out for help, and in that moment, as Saya turns, the thread snaps. Hasal's mask cracks, and she coughs up blood. She tells Bang-woo that it has found her, and that he need to open the door again. He warns that if he does, she'll only have 3 minutes. Saya finds herself completely alone, and the thread tied around her wrist has turned red, stretching into the darkness, connected to something unseen. Slowly, she begins walking toward it, when suddenly, a body drops in front of her, hanging motionless. And before she can react, more begin to fall, revealing a door beyond them. But something takes hold of her, and it becomes clear that the thread is tied to a phone. Just then, an arrow slices through the thread. Hasal rushes in and tells Saya that they need to stay connected. She points toward the door and urges her to run. The two of them sprint forward, and when the spirit attacks, Hasal shields Saya and leaps through the doorway, causing her mask to shatter and fall. The timer stops, and Hasal steadies herself, then tells Saya it's over. Ha-joon rushes to Saya, asking if she's okay, and Hasal reassures him that she'll recover, but warns them that this isn't the end. They've only cut the connection temporarily, and to stop it for good, they'll have to find the source, the Mihung, and destroy it. Later, after everyone leaves, Hasal stands before the altar. She places her hand on it, and the white snake slowly coils around her arm. Meanwhile, Nari shows the video to Jongwoo, leaving him stunned by what he sees. She then tells him that Saya said she couldn't bear to see him, which is why she is the only one there with him. Bang-woo finds out that Ha-joon was planning to make a wish, and immediately warns him never to try something like that again, as it only makes things harder for his sister. He adds that if Ha-joon causes her any more trouble, he won't allow him to come back at all. Hasal gives Saya fresh clothes, and as Saya apologizes for putting her in danger, Hazel instead takes the blame for pushing her too far without understanding her past. Saya admits that, despite everything, seeing her parents again meant something to her. Hasal explains that some of what she experienced was real, drawn from deeply buried, painful memories. But the spirit twisted them against her, making it even more dangerous. Determined to end it, Saya asks Hasal for help, believing she's the only one who can stop what lies on the other side. Hasal explains that the app is a powerful curse, created by a vengeful spirit, and to end it, they must find and destroy the Mihung, the link between their world and the spirit's realm. Bang-woo clarifies that Mei means to bury, and Ha-young means cruel. Hasal then reminds Saya about the red phone tied to her during her vision, saying she must bring it to the house immediately, as she is the only one who can hold it and is directly connected to the spirit, to her, and the other side. Later that night, something drips onto Hasal's face, and she instinctively wipes it away. She realizes it's blood. Before she can react, more begins to fall, turning into a chilling downpour from above, and the episode ends here.